Las Vegas. I'm not certain how this video is going to turn out, but I've been living out here for, it's going on 40 years. And if you see, there's a church on just about every corner. But the disorder used to be very visible back in the day. But you know, it's early. It's the Nation of Islam. Mosque 75, ministered by Minister Duke Muhammad. Brilliant man. I'm not certain how this footage is going to come out, so this is my first attempt of driving and making a video at the same time. But what I want to show is the west side is a beautiful landscape of property. And there's a lot of property over here that's not being utilized by the city. And what I've noticed through the years is that they've been fixing the west side back up, but at the same time, they have been raising rent and everything, you know, so, you know, they've been raising the property taxes of the homes, you know, because there's a lot of people who've been living over here all of their lives, and they have, they own homes over here. But what the city tries to do, excuse the volume, I had my air set in. What they do is what they used to call urban removal. You know, they make what used to be affordable unaffordable. This is D Street. This is a popular street, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn down here on Alexander Street and I'm going to hit H Street. Alexander is a street where one of my exes used to live, named Crystal. I hope I don't bump into her. Let me hurry up and go with these speed bumps. Hurry up and get the hell out of this area. But I don't want to talk too fast because I want to show you something. I'm turning off of Alexander Street and I'm turning on to what is called H Street. Now these units over here used to look really bad, but they fixed them up. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go a little bit further down and then I'm gonna do a U-turn because I want to show you something. In a 6 to 9 block radius, north, south, east, and west, I'm U-turning right now. You will count up to 22 churches over here. So the so-called body of Christ is, there's True Love Baptist Church. I'm not going to call out the churches. I ain't trying to make them popular. But you would think that an area where you have a church just about on every corner, it would be the most civilized area of the city. But considering the crime rate over here at a 75%, it is the most uncivil. And when I was out here in the 90s, when I used to speak in these churches, I was telling these pastors that, you have to get out of these churches and you got to go to the people, because, that's what your book says. You have to go to the lost sheep. They're not going to come to you because, how is anything lost going to come to you, But if you look at all of the property over here, you see very little activity. Very little activity. The west side is looking better. It used to look much worse than this. But our people over here, they're not doing anything. But at the same time, a lot of families over here have been broken. A lot of families over here have been victimized by, the clutches of drugs and alcoholism and all of those type of things. But it's a lot of work to do over here, It's a lot of work to do. But the body of Christ definitely is not trying to do any work over here to ease the corruption. And if they're not trying to do anything to ease the corruption, then it only implies that they advocate. They advocate. So, I just wanted to run you through this right quick, because there's a lot that could be done on this west side, but there's no activity over here. What's going on over here? There's not a lot of activities over here. And then if you look at it, we have more churches than businesses over here. So people over here in the neighborhood, they can't even get jobs, or let alone maintain jobs, because there's no business over here on the west side. You don't have any businesses, so it doesn't help. But there's a lot of property over here that's not being used, So it's a lot of work. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead and speed. Get that ticket, bro. Because I damn sure ain't trying to get it. This is a new turn. Turning lane. They're working, they investing a whole lot on the infrastructure over here. But they only getting it ready for the white community to move back in, because the west side used to be predominantly white at the beginning, and then it became predominantly black. But that was during the earlier years of Las Vegas. I would say like in the mid 30s, something like that. Yeah, man, it's a lot of work that needs to be done. Go in here, this popular store called Mario's, Give me about $20 worth of chicken fingers, because he's got the best chicken fingers in town. Because I plan on kicking it at the airport tonight. This is my off night. I'm just gonna be relaxing, chilling with the villain. All right, I'm gonna sign out right here. I'll check in a little later on, y'all. Y'all be good. Keep your head up.
I have a question. Are people afraid to believe what religious doctrine says? Or are people programmed to be afraid not to believe what religious doctrine says? %90 of the people on this planet will agree with the latter, that you have been made afraid not to believe. It's easy to be lured into something. Your love is titillated to be led in. And then as time goes on, you're programmed to fear that which you love, which is your creator. And then after you've been made to be afraid of what you loved unconditionally, now all these different things are imposed upon you by way of religious doctrine. Now you're being made afraid to not believe something. This whole idea of dying and going to this place called hell has been the primary control device that religion has forever used in order to control the minds of the human family. It has always been such. Always been such. One of the main tools that mankind has always used to control the sheep who've given themselves to religious doctrine has forever been fear. Forever been fear. And not love. It has always been fear. No matter what religion that you've given yourself to, whether it's Islam, Christianity, or anything else, religion has always been a tool used through fear. It's always been such. As many as myself who are thinking human beings, who are not afraid to question anything and everything, are the primary ones. I use the word primary a lot. Are the primary ones who are always threatened of this place called hell that we're supposed to reside in, simply because we don't believe a whole lot of what religion implies. It's a dictatorship. You either believe what we tell you to believe in our particular sect, or you're going to hell. It's always been such. You know, in the Bible, it says that when Lucifer fell under the influence of Satan and he rebelled against God, you know, he got a third of the angels and he influenced them to go against God. And the Creator cast Lucifer out of the heavenly plane and down here on earth. So obviously the earth was created before all of this transpired. And due to the fact that the earth was the place that the Creator chose to send Lucifer and the angels to, what was the earth created for? Obviously, the earth was created for those who rebel against the principles of divinity that God had established in heaven. So is the earth hell? Is the earth the punishing place? I mean, obviously, because he sent Lucifer here. So who are we? So we were sent down here to replenish the earth, to populate the planet. For what? Did the Creator show compassion for Lucifer? How come he didn't just wipe Lucifer out along with the third of the angels? According to the Bible, God showed compassion for Lucifer and sent Lucifer down here to this planet. That God obviously created for those who rebel. And here we are. So religion comes along. It took a righteous human being by the name of Yeshua and injected this man's life into their religious doctrine. Because Yeshua was not a religious man. Yeshua was a spiritual being. He was a spiritual man who actually did not agree with the religious scholars, the scribes and the Pharisees. You know the story. I don't have to go through it in order to please any of you. And the church worked along with the government to have gotten rid of Yeshua. I mean, I've even heard some brothers say that it was an assassination. It was like a religious and political assassination. Religion wants to say that it was meant to happen. This was all prophecy. It was meant to happen. Who knows? We sure as hell don't know for certain. We're just left with information that we have to believe. But none of us know if any of this was indeed a fact. None of us really knows. But I will say one thing. Elijah Muhammad, this is one truth that he spoke. You don't have to die in order to go to hell, and you don't have to die in order to go to heaven. But we're going to deal with the whole hell concept, because I feel that I'm one of the people who are definitely qualified to speak on this, because I've been going through hell all my life. I've been denied everything. I've been walking through hell all of my life. And most of the people who took me through the fires of hell, which is a condition and not a place of where you're going to be burning forever. They took me through this hell, but going through the hell, it made me who I am today. But it doesn't justify what happened. The results is I survived it. And the decisions that I made, I will never make them again. And that's even in my social life. Certain people I cut off. Certain family members, I cut them completely off. Certain friends, I've cut them completely off, because they help purify me to the point to where my thinking is pure now, because I'll never repeat those thoughts ever again. I will never make those decisions ever again. You don't have to die. Hell is not a place where you're going to be sent to and you're going to burn forever. I mean, what's the point of all of these people claiming that they're so righteous and we have this righteous creator and the prophets and all of that, and then they send you to a place to where they say those who don't follow these religious doctrines are going to burn forever. They're going to be punished forever. How can you be punished forever? Doesn't a punishment means a time of reformation, to where you have the beginning of the punishment and the ending of the punishment? I know that some of the Muslim scholars, they said that there is a certain time element that you're going to spend in hell, that you may be purified. The same as you boiling hot water in order to purify it. And you make it pure. You're going to suffer in hell for a specific amount of time, to where your thinking process and everything that is going on within your spirit is going to be purged. And what's going to be left of you is a human being that has been purified. Those thoughts and those feelings are no longer inside of you. They've been burnt out through suffering and pain. That's just like everyday life. Everybody goes through suffering and pain. This is what the stress, the depression, the anger, the confusion, all of those things. We go through all of those things. And those who survive are purified through the hell that they had to go through during those challenges and during those trials that other human beings put you through. But it seems like to me, the cruelest people on this planet are people who are always seen with Bibles and Qurans in their hands. They are the most unforgiving people, and these are the main people who support this cruelty that is written down of this place called hell. Every time you turn around, these people are trying to tell you, as my video opened up, if you keep thinking like that, if you keep talking like that, you're going to go to hell. And what are you doing? You're not doing anything but speaking your mind. At least you're being honest. You're not somewhere quoting some book that you really, in fact, don't believe it. You're just quoting it, asserting that this is how you're living. I bumped into so many people like that. When I was out there speaking in the 90s, I went into isolation for 5 years. At least I wanted to. But then after 1 year, as another one of my videos explained, I was pulled out of my isolation period, and I took the chance and I got into another ministry named Exalt Ministries, and met a whole bunch of people who were demonic, manipulative, all of those things, you name it. But I survived that. It wasn't easy, but I survived it. But the main people that are walking around here telling you you're going to go to hell and all of that, those are the people who really want you to suffer the cruelty that is in those scriptures, whether they're in the Bible or the Quran. And that goes to show you how evil and inhumane they are as so-called human beings. How can a human being who has been condemned to hell forever be punished? An ongoing punishment. It's a life sentence, huh? Down in hell. And you got this God, according to religious doctrine, watching you burn for eternity. You're drinking boiling hot water and you're eating from a contaminated tree. And that's supposed to be humane. When we sit up and read that, how's that supposed to make us feel? That's supposed to make us afraid. Ooh, I don't want to go there, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to submit. So what are you bound to? You bound to the Creator? Or are you bound to fear? Has the religious scholars created another God for you to bow down to, named fear? Because if that is the root and the motivation of your submission, then the religious scholars and these religions have shaped and molded a God for you to bow down to. And it ain't the Creator. It is fear. You're bowing down to fear. Fear is your God, not the Creator. If you're under a law and you submit to the law, the root of your submitting to that law is fear. Because if I don't submit to this law and pretend as though I agree with it and motivate my actions every day as if I agree by way of this law, it's still rooted in fear. You're still not being honest. You're supposed to be good for the sake of goodness. And being good for the sake of goodness is demonstrating morality and therefore humanity towards your other human being for the sake of making the society and environment a better place to exist. Like Yeshua said, the kingdom of God is within you. It is within you. Now, if you really take that as a fact and understand that you are part of this humanity, and because of your love for humanity, not because you're commanded to be righteous, or you're under a law and you're following a law, but if you do it for the sake of goodness, then that's what the Creator loves you for. You do good for the sake of goodness, for goodness sake, not because you're commanded to do it, not because you're under a law. As I had explained in another one of my videos, and David doesn't care if you agree with him or not. I don't care. When Yeshua said, I come not to destroy the law, but to fulfill it. Fulfilling it. After the commandment and the laws have been fulfilled and therefore manifested by way of action, then you're not under the law anymore. You are a manifestation of divine principles. You are no longer under the law because you don't need it anymore. And the Word became flesh. Now, if the Word becomes flesh, then you're not under the law anymore. That's what that means. When you're no longer a part of a doctrine and you understand what it means to be a human being, you don't have to be concerned about when you close your eyes, are you going to go to heaven or am I going to burn in hell and all that? It's just a tool to make you afraid of being yourself. That's all it is. It's just a tool to make you afraid of being yourself. Now, whatever type of human being you decide to be, that's between you and yourself and the Creator. That's between you and the Creator and yourself. But what I would hope for all of us to be interested in is making this earth a better place to live, and stop allowing these religions to make you afraid and make you a hypocrite and make you fake and keep you separated from knowing what a real human being is. Because religion, as I said before, has done nothing but separate humanity in different sects: Muslim, Christian, Buddhist, Hanbali, Hanafi, and everybody's looking at each other, disagreeing with one another. And in between everyone, it's nothing but a bunch of conflict, because I've seen it too many times. That ministry that I was involved in, Exalt Ministries, we used to so-called celebrate the Sabbath, and everybody at that table was hating me, simply because me and this sister in the ministry started loving each other, and I was hated simply because I love someone. That's all it was. Imagine sitting at a dinner table celebrating the Sabbath, and every single person at that table is hating you for no damn reason. You haven't done anything wrong. You haven't done anything. Religion. That's why I pull away from religious people, And that's why Yeshua pulled away from religious people. It is the religious community and the political community that you have to pull yourself from. As he said, my kingdom is not of this world. He was a spiritual man. He wasn't a religious man. He fulfilled everything that the religious world had to offer him. He fulfilled it. He didn't need it. And they turned against him. And it was the religious world who worked along with the political world and caused his crucifixion. You know the story. I'm very tired right now. So I'm going to cut this short. I meant to be a little bit more accurate because I'm suffering from exhaustion right now. But a sister had asked me when I mentioned that back in the 90s, I was going to go into isolation and I was going to study for 5 years. And she asked me, if you were out there speaking and the church had rejected you, then why did you go into a studying period for 5 years? Is it that they felt like you didn't know what you were talking about? The reason why the church attacked me is because I was a spiritual man. And I understood the man's message. And his message was beyond an institution called church. It was beyond that. I'm a spiritual man. And the church didn't like that because I wouldn't follow up under their rulership and their dictatorships. Because the church institution is just that. It's just an institution. That's all it is. But don't you let nobody tell you that you're gonna go to hell and you're gonna burn in the fires of hell and all the rest of that nonsense. And this tree that's supposed to be that down in hell that the Muslims are talking about, where did you get this information? Who brought this information back to you and told you about it? Well, Allah revealed that to Prophet Muhammad. So now I'm left to believe that, right? I'm left to believe that. Make that a fact to me, and you can't do it. A person who believes that can't tell me that it's a fact. See, all of this stuff is imposed on you for one purpose, to make you afraid. It's easy for you to believe it. It's easy to believe. It's easy to believe it. But they make you afraid of not believing. When you wake up and you start asking questions and you look in the Bible and the Quran and you see things that are not making any logical sense, it's not that once you start waking up, you say, okay, this is not making sense. Because I went to a lot of pastors. I even sat in their homes, away from the church and away from the deacons and the assistant pastors. I've sat and I've talked with pastors in their homes. Explain this to me. Explain this and that to me. Explain this. If I'm wrong, help me. Help me to understand where I'm wrong at. None of them. None of them could explain where I was wrong. None of them could explain that I was wrong. I even had a pastor right here told me, the people are not ready to hear you. That pastor is no longer with us anymore. Rest in peace. But he said, the people are not ready to hear you. He said, you're an end times man. And so in so many words, he was telling me to leave his church. And I did. It's no big deal. But he told me the people who he was preaching to were not ready to hear you. So he was basically telling me, you showed up in the church too early, or you don't belong in the church. Simply because I was telling them there's a church on every corner on the west side of this city, Las Vegas. And within a 6-block radius, you have 22 churches within a 6-block radius, north, south, east, and west, which is supposed or should be the most civilized area in Las Vegas, but it's the most uncivil. Why? I was questioning, why is the west side of Las Vegas the most uncivil when it should be the most civil, because there's a church on every corner? It's because they were not and are still not going to the lost sheep. They said that the people should come to them. I said, you're going against your own book. You're going against what the Messiah said. You're going against what Yahshua said. He said, go to the lost sheep. Go to them. Go to them. How can the people who are considered lost come to you? If they're lost, they won't be able to find you if they're lost. And then when you walk the streets over there, like I did back in the 90s, and you asked the drug dealers, the prostitutes, the drug users, and the drug pushers about their church experience, a lot of them can tell you exactly what church they went to on that west side. And when you ask them what happened, they will tell you, didn't help me. So in other words, someone wasn't telling you the truth. There's a whole lot of young men on that west side that try to go to church, but they're condemned simply because of their attire. And so you're pushing these young men back out into the killing fields. And then the next thing you know, you're going to a funeral. Now you want to speak up for this young man. The same young men that you push away, you push them into a grave, and now you want to speak at their funerals. And it's those people who are going to hell. This hell that you talk about. Now, if this hell does exist in this ground, I expect to see you there because you didn't do what you were supposed to do. It's people like you who don't do what you're supposed to do. You don't even follow your book. And even outside of the book, it's only humane to reach out to those who are suffering mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. It is only humane for you to reach out to people and not condemn them because of their condition. Like I used to walk with a brother all the time. And every time we spoke to some people, if they didn't take in what he said, he walked away from them. He condemned them because he thought that he was Yeshua. He thought that he was Yahweh or whatever you want to call it. He had a narcissist type attitude. You either believe what I say or to hell with you. That's the same attitude that the religious world had. This is the reason why y'all write that bullshit. And you want people to be afraid. You're going to say, oh, you're going to go to hell and you're going to eat from this tree that's going to have heads of devils, and you're going to burn and you're going to drink this hot boiling water because you didn't believe what Allah says. You didn't follow what Yeshua and God says. All of this inhumane. What happened to forgiveness? What happened to God's love is lasting, everlasting. However, you got a place called hell, a place where you send all of those that you condemn into this place called hell, to where they're going to burn eternally. And you have conscious of this happening. So what is it? Do you take pleasure in seeing people burn forever? What type of God is that? So I'm supposed to believe that a God like that is divine. It's a lot going on, y'all. Y'all better start thinking about this stuff. But it's easy. It's easy. The only thing you have to understand is how to be a human being. See, the Beatitudes wasn't about process, a process. He didn't say that to become. He said just be yourself. He's basically telling you, you already have what it takes inside. It is not a process. He said be, not become. See, become implies time. Be implies you already have what it takes within. Just be yourself. Act on love. What's inside you, the love that's inside of you, just act on it. The love inside of us has intelligence. You see something wrong? Intelligence tells you to resolve it. Do whatever you have to do to resolve it. If you're crossing the street and you see a car coming towards you, speeding, what do you do? Do you stop in the middle of the street while the car is coming to you? Like, who's driving that car? Why is he speeding? See, that's not intelligence. Because you're thinking. That's not intelligence. See, intelligence sees the danger and acts. You don't cross the street and see a car coming and say, why is he speeding? See, because while you're doing that, the car is getting closer and eventually you're going to get hit. See, when you're crossing the street and you see a car speeding your way, intelligence tells you, get out of the way, and you act. That's intelligence. When I was in the fields, I would go to these churches and tell them, we need to go beyond these doors and go out there to the people and talk to these people. And not always quoting scriptures. You have to talk to them and understand, talk to them. And you have to listen. How did you get here? What type of addiction do you have? Well, I'm an alcoholic. I'm a drug addict. What happened to you that brought you to this point? Find out what's going on with them intellectually, spiritually. Find out. You have to listen to them. You can't say, no, you be quiet. You listen to me. Yeshua says such and such a thing. You have to communicate with the people. And the only way that you're going to be able to effectively communicate with the people, you have to first listen to them. But the only way that you are going to be able to listen to them, you have to love them enough to go outside of your church doors, and you have to go to the lost sheep. You have to go to them. A sheep that is lost can't find you. But how do you find them? You have to go beyond your institution and out in the fields. And you have to talk to them, and that takes love. That takes compassion. You have to go to them. Those people are not the ones who are in danger of hellfire. It's you. It's the pastors. It's the so-called servants of Allah and Yahweh. It's you. You are the ones who are in danger because you have no humanity on the inside. You're so busy condemning the people that you can't help them. You can't help them because you don't love them. They're hood rats to you. You can't help who you've already condemned. And this is why Yeshua was telling his disciples when he was on his way to Matthew's place, when they said, you can't sit in there with all of those people. Those people are going to contaminate you. Yeshua had told them, the way you're thinking, those people are going to make it to the kingdom of heaven before you. He said, I will enter any home where I'm welcome. Any home. And he's not always talking about a building or a house. He's talking about the heart. I will enter any home where I'm welcome. So the people are out there suffering. The people are out there lost. It's the reason why they're not walking through your church doors, because they're lost. Those are your sheep, your lost sheep. So when are you going to step outside of yourself and outside of your church institutions and go to them? This is the reason why the book says God's judgment is going to start first in the places that assert to be the house of God. You're going to be judged first and foremost. You want to know why? Because you have committed the greatest crime. The greatest crime. Now, most people will say, it's going to be the government that's going to be judged first. No, it's going to be the church, because you have done the most damage. Now think about it. We all know the evil that the United States government has done abroad the earth. Or let's just say the governments abroad the earth have done. The bloodshed, the wars, the famine, the plagues, the diseases through wars and chemical warfares and all of those things. The Creator doesn't see those things as a primary thing. He sees the church institution. You people are going to be judged first and foremost, and then imagine you're being judged even before the governments of the planet. You don't even understand the magnitude of the damage that you're doing to this earth right now. You can't even see it because you are too busy walking around thinking that you're saints. How the hell are you saints? And say that you're sinners at the same time. Praise the Lord, saints, and everybody in the church is saying, praise the Lord. And yet saying, I am a sinner, a sinner, a sinner. Think about it. A sinner is a person who sins. I'm a sinner. It's what I do. It's explaining not only what the title implies, it's telling you what this person does. I'm a sinner. I sin. I'm a sinner. But I'm a saint too. If you claim them both, guess what you are? You're a hypocrite. And if you look all through your book, Yeshua was called a bastard by the church. And if you look, he didn't get upset, but he did get upset behind hypocrisy. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees. That's the only place in the Bible where you're going to find that Yeshua got angry and raised his voice. It was behind hypocrisy. It was behind hypocrisy. So before y'all continue to go back to condemning the rest of the world simply because people don't want to follow your religion or sex and all of that, you better check yourself. That's what you need to do. You need to check yourself, because you are the wicked. The majority of the most wicked people that I've ever met in my life are walking around with a Bible or a Quran in their hand, because they don't understand, or they don't even want to know what it means to be a human being. Because everything that I shared with you before this video came on, when it talks about the hellfires and all of that is totally inhumane. Totally inhumane. You either do what I say, or you go into hell. We're going to throw you in the fires of hell, and you're going to burn forever. And how do you know I'm going to be burning forever? You're going to be watching me burn forever? How humane is that? Whatever happened to forgiveness? Whatever happened to counseling people? Whatever happened? What happened to that? So you mean to tell me that your mind and your doctrines can't get through to me to the degree you can't convince a person that is deemed as a rebellious one, and you're going to blame them simply because of what you know can't penetrate through their rebellion and put them in check? Is it that? Is it in fact them with the problem? Or is it that you don't have enough wisdom and intelligence to reach them, that they may be reformed? That's what you are going to have to figure it out. You figure that out. Have they failed, or have you failed them? Who has failed humanity? Who has failed humanity?